All right, hello everybody. That was Jeff Pitchell's Fat Cigar you were listening to, and that means it's time for Not Just Blowing Smoke. Coming at you live from Twin Smoke Shop Studio headquarters in Londonderry, New Hampshire, right in the 724 Lounge. I'm
Yes, sir.
Pastor Padron.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here with my co-hosts, Nick and Dave.
Yo.
Nicotine, baby.
Pat is gone tonight, and we are live. If you are doing the live stream on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're listening after the fact on Pandora, Spotify, iTunes, Google, wherever you can find a podcast, there we are. Hit that subscribe button so that you don't ever miss a thing in the future.
Absolutely.
Tonight we are doing a couple of pipe tobaccos. We're coming off of a major event we did with Erik Stokkebye, fourth generation tobacconist fame.
Erik is amazing.
He's awesome. We try and do something with him at least once a year, and he's become a good friend of us. We've had him on the podcast a few times.
Yep. Hold
and
on, I got to move over here. We got a late edition.
We got a late edition. Oh, there is Pat.
There's Pat Wente.
And
It's getting real comfortable too.
Erik surprised me. We had planned tonight. We typically have been of late anyway, trying to do a podcast that focused on pipe tobacco.
Yep.
The week following our monthly pipe club, which is the second Saturday of the month.
Uh-huh.
And so we had planned to do the fourth gen small batch resolution, which he came out with this year. But he surprised me. He actually came out with something else too. And
Yeah.
we were one of the first to have it. Thank
Fish
you,
did.
Iska. So we'll pass these around. This is our drink tonight, the 724 barrel select of High West
Thank you.
Prairie
This is a
bourbon.
This is a good bourbon.
It's very, very good. It's one of my favorite barrel selects that we have here at Twins.
Absolutely.
And so we'll be drinking that through both of these tobaccos we're having tonight.
Excellent.
But Night Slice is a new bulk tobacco that he just came out with. It literally just dropped. And, we'd be one of the first podcasts, I think, to give it a try. So I wanted to jump on that too.
Oh yeah.
So we have two pipe tobaccos tonight that we'll be talking about. We'll talk a little bit about the show and how it went and everything, but we're going to talk about all sorts of things tonight. And we are starting out with his small batch. Every year for the past several years, he has come out, and he being Erik Stokkebye,
Yes.
has come out with a small batch that he does with a different blending company each year. And this year, he chose to work with Cornell and Deal and Jeremy Reeves. And together, the two of them came up with what is called Resolution. And off the tin, it says aged mahogany, aged Carolinian mahogany, and lemon flue-cured Virginias are married with top-tier Orientals from Turkey and Greece, producing a mixture deep in flavor, rich in oil, and full of natural sweetness. A hazelnut top note accentuates the blend's balanced melange of spices, dark fruit, bright citrus, and floral characteristics. It's considered an Oriental blend, at least on tobaccoreviews.com. Don't be fooled by that hazelnut top note.
Okay.
This isn't an aromatic in any stretch of the means. There's
No.
a little bit of something there that's more to bring out the sweetness in the tobaccos than to make you think you're smoking a hazelnut flavored thing. It's a flake, and the reception for this has been very good. He told me that there's thoughts of actually bringing this into the permanent fold of his tobaccos in some way.
Yeah. I mean, it's special edition right now, right?
Yeah, it's a special edition.
It's a released
So-
limited edition.
Yep. So once it's gone, it's gone,
Right.
and unless he decides to bring it back. But we have. I'd already gone through about 2/3 of what we had got, and we got some more in for the show, and he told me that as of Saturday there were about 50 tins left to be had.
Wow.
After that, it's all sold out. So,
Man, it's so good though.
yeah.
It's complex. I mean, the complexity really you really got to focus on the flavors because it's so quick.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot at once, and it's really nice. Smooth, obviously. You got a little spice. You definitely get the floral notes in the back end. A little bit of the sweetness up front, but it's extremely subtle.
Yeah. Yep. And while I get that sweetness, and every once in a while I get something that I go, oh, hazelnut.
Yeah.
That's not a predominant flavor that I pick up from this. Would you agree, Dave?
Nope.
Yeah. So,
Man, a few words.
oh my goodness. So, like I said, we just had Erik Stokkebye over on Saturday, and we decided to do something different. We decided to have the entire event out on our deck off the 724 lounge. The weather was perfect. Low to mid 70s.
Yeah.
Kind of, partly cloudy, but not, more sun than clouds.
Yeah.
And there was a little breeze. Now, there two things that I did not anticipate as we were getting ready to do that. And the first is that, with pipes, you're using soft flame.
You are.
To light them.
It's extremely hard
And so
to use a soft flame
to
outside.
do that, outside of everything, even with the light breeze that we had, there was a little bit of a challenge for some people to do that.
Yeah.
So people would come into the bar, light their pipe, and then walk back outside. So I mean, people dealt with it. They had a great time.
Yeah.
But I also had completely just spaced on the fact that meant I would be out in the sun for 8 hours.
Ah.
Yeah.
I saw you got a little red on your neck there.
I have more than a little red on my neck. And so, I got pretty burned.
Really? It wasn't
I
even
got-
that hot out either. It
No.
was 75, that's good. But I mean,
it was, the weather was perfect and
It was.
everything, but I got home that night and it was just like, it wasn't as bad as it could be. I've been burned a lot worse.
you look like a rock lobster.
Yeah, and I'm one of these guys, I burn, and then after a day or two, I'll peel.
Mm-hmm.
And then underneath, I'm going to be just as white as when I started. There's like no upside to
There you
being in
go.
the sun for me. My wife, she tans great. My girls, they tan great. Me, I'm like the great white whale.
You're the black sheep of the family.
I either turn into the Red Hulk for several days, and then I transform back into the great white hope.
The pastor comes back.
Yep. The Holy Ghost comes back out, whatever.
The Holy Ghost.
So,
Oh boy.
we're 2 days out. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm still like stingy. The back of my neck is, got the worst of it.
Mm-hmm.
But good grief, I wasn't thinking. It's only, the middle of May, and I just wasn't thinking about sunscreen.
Yeah, but when you're on that deck, whether you are you can be as low as 60 degrees, 65 degrees on that deck. I mean, because of the color of that deck, I mean, it feels like it's 90 sometimes. That deck, it just attracts heat like crazy. One time I was out there, I was cleaning the deck in the morning, and it was probably 55, maybe 60 degrees out there. And I mean, I was sweating. I had to take off my sweater. And then getting off the deck, I was like, oh my,
sweater.
I had to take off my sweater. I was like, my God, this is crazy. I thought it was like 75 out there, but then you look at you look at your phone or your watch or the thermometer on the side of the building, and you're like, wow, this is crazy. But I mean, great color choice by Kurt when for choosing on that deck. I mean, but on the other note, when it's 90 out there, it's hard to stay out there. I mean, oh my God, it's like 120. Oh, you need a couple mojitos just to numb yourself so you're not getting burnt all day.
Have you guys ever had that sneak up on you like that? Like you're outside, you're not thinking, and then you come inside and you realize, I just toasted myself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've done that in Puerto
Let's
Rico
go to the
a few
beach
times.
and then you forget.
I've done that in Puerto
Any
Rico a
suntan
few
lotion?
times. I did one horror show of a situation, and it was me and my wife. We were on the beach in Puerto Rico, and we were drinking. We got a little tired. We were staying up all night, and we got a little tired, and we didn't think it was too big of a deal to take a nap on the beach. And that nap turned into about an hour and a half of sleep time.
Ooh.
And I was hurting, my friend. Oh my God. I never really,
Falling asleep on the beach is so freaking dangerous.
well, especially in Puerto Rico, the sun down there is relentless. My father-in-law has to wear long sleeve shirts and a hat when he's walking around there because it's just, you get fried. Even if you're in the water. I mean, the water magnifies the sun 100 times, and it's like, forget about just, you're staying cool, but at the same time, you're getting roasted. And oh my God, I mean, like, that's the one and only mistake that I've ever made. I fell asleep on the beach, and we woke up. I couldn't sleep on my back for probably 6 or 7 days.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife was in pain. I was rubbing aloe on her all day, all night, which wasn't bad for me, but I mean, but for me, oh my God, it was so bad. I mean, it was something that I'll never do again.
Yeah.
I underestimated that all day.
Has that ever happened to you, Dave?
Yeah, I've been burnt.
Yeah, but
Again,
have
man,
you,
a few
have
words.
you not been prepared for it? Like I was outside, and I didn't think about the sun, or it was overcast or something. That's another thing. People go outside, it's overcast, and they're like, I don't need sunscreen today. It's just
Ultraviolet light
cloudy."
doesn't care about those clouds. You can
Yeah.
you can tan on a cloudy day. That's perfectly fine.
Mhm.
You can. That is a possibility.
So what I'm getting
You can
from,
tan in the cold.
what I'm getting from the lack of
Winter.
specifics about anything is that anytime that's happened to you, has just been fried out of your brain.
I mean, I've gone to the beach before and forgotten sun lotion. I've done that. I've been out all day and working on my car
Mm-hmm.
and just doing that, and then you're like, crap. Now I got a sunburn on the back of my neck.
Now
See,
you're
that's
roasted.
what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. You're doing something. You're not thinking, I need sunscreen. I'm thinking, this is, a pipe event in May. I don't need sunscreen. Never entered my mind, and apparently it was one of those things. Maybe I should have even had for other people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay.
Yeah,
The event went well. Did it
Yes.
not?
it did. It went very well.
Mr. Stokkebye was
And
happy?
Stokkebye was happy, and he told me it was the first outdoor pipe show he'd ever done in his life.
Really?
Yeah.
Yay, birds.
Had never
awesome.
he'd never seen or heard of it being done before.
Well,
And I'm like, I guess we did another first without even trying. I mean,
That's
it was
it.
just like, but it was the first event where all of the, purchasing of everything happened out on the deck. Nothing happened down in the retail section. And that part went very smooth
yeah,
as well.
very nice.
But good grief. So it was a good time. But next year I've already got some things on the list of things that I can't forget about.
I'd like to say,
Mm-hmm.
I came in yesterday when I worked yesterday, and I saw the remaining pipes that didn't sell on the table downstairs in retail. Mr. Stokkebye does incredible designs on his pipes. Pipes, and don't get me wrong, I mean, all the other pipes that are out there. I mean, I'm smoking my Peterson now, which I absolutely love. I have quite a few Savinellis, which I love those. But I mean, Erik Stokkebye's pipes are second to none. I mean, with design, they are so different, but
Yeah.
so beautiful at the same time. I mean, I have a 4th gen Churchwarden, and it's such a simple design, but it's so beautiful to the eye, and it's so beautiful when you hold it, and it's wonderful. He makes unbelievable pipes.
And I don't think any of us are smoking
A 4th gen.
the closest we're getting is Dave, who has a
Yeah,
Nording.
he has
We
a
have we have
Nording,
the
yeah.
Nordings there.
I know.
But all my 4th gens are resting because I smoked the crap out of them on Saturday.
I left one. I left my. Unfortunately, I wasn't aware that we were doing all pipes today. I thought we were going to be doing all cigars, but Joke's on me, and I left my church warden at home, unfortunately. But we'll have to bring it later.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that. But he does make great pipes.
He does. Oh, my God.
Now, Pat, you had a very different experience. You were gone and at the police week convention down in DC.
All right.
Yeah.
What was up with that?
Yeah, that's why I don't have a pipe today, because I didn't bring one on the plane. So I came literally right from the airport.
He came unprepared.
Yeah,
Well, he
unprepared.
came right from the plane. Yes.
So
I'm just busting him.
That
Yeah,
means
so-
you have to go downstairs and buy a pipe.
That's right.
I've
Yep, that's
done
the-
that. Yeah, I feel like you only have one spare life, and I already took it. So, so yeah, Police Week really is the leak leading up to what? Yeah, so I'm
There's any
sorry.
leaks?
The week leading up to the actual week for Police Week is like a lot of the events they put on. So, we go down every year, and it's a weekend thing. So, I go with the NHPA. So, they send some officers down there. A lot of the MPPA sends Manchester officers over there. So, but yeah, just over the country, like police will go to DC that week to kind of, acknowledge the fallen officers that have been on the police memorial, and then the ones obviously get read off that are being added to that wall this
Right.
year. Which this year, my dad can correct me, I believe there was 536 names. 533. 556. So there was 556 officers that were killed in the line of duty that were being put on the wall from this year.
That's too
I think
many.
a lot of names, not a lot, but like, a good portion of them are people from 9/11. Because again, like sometimes it takes time for you to kind of get the causation of as to why someone passed away. And I guess a lot of officers who were part of 9/11 had passed away recently from some form of cancer.
Yeah.
And
All the respiratory
I know.
problems.
we had 2 names put on from Manchester this year, which I wish I had I memorized my dad's information on those, but one of them was from 1918, and he was actually the first mobilized officer, I think, in the country, right? So he was in Manchester or the country? I thought I read country. So in Manchester, so he was the first officer that was on a horse. But basically what we do is you go, like we do like the union, we have a dinner of like the membership that go, and then the officers that are elected to go.
Okay.
The next day is the candlelight vigil. So you go to the that courtyard behind the Capitol, and they read off every single name being put on the wall from state, and then everyone gets a candle, obviously, and one person on the stage will have one flame, and they light one candle, and then that person passes their candle, so like the flame ends up going from the stage, and it spreads all the way to the back, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people. I would say thousands of people go to that. And then the next day we do we'll go to the police memorial, and then we put little New Hampshire pins next to the names of the officers. I believe there's 43 New Hampshire officers on the wall. So it's just a nice thing to do, and it's really impactful because you just kind of look at that wall, and you see a lot of the families there that that have had people killed in the line of duty in past years, and then obviously the surviving families that are there for the officers being put on this year. So it's definitely a really moving experience to see that, and you get to see all the officers come together. And on top of you're in DC as well, so there's a lot of other things like we went to Arlington and walked that. But yeah, so that's really what Police Week is. It's just kind of honoring the fallen, just acknowledging who's being put on this year. And
Were there any kind of counter police crap going on during that?
shockingly, no. My dad and I were talking about that. I'm sure I didn't get to go a few years ago because of COVID and everything, but I'm sure there's times you have that. But it seems, I think a lot of people, I think the media kind of sway. A lot of people, I believe, are pro-police. I think when people who shouldn't be police officers do something wrong, I think people kind of come out and they'll, voice their opinion. But I think the majority of people, not looking at what the media says, but most people I think are pro-police, and I saw no protesting there, and it was a good time. I think the police are very respected when I went this year. So and the other 2 years I've went, they've also been very respected. So
Awesome.
That's cool.
Hell yeah.
Have either of you tried the American Prairie with the pipe tobacco? I think
No.
it goes really well together.
I think it does. It brings out more of a spice note in there with the tobacco. A little bit more earth. Getting a little bit more floral on it. The sweetness is definitely played a back note. It's definitely in the it's there, but it's definitely in the background. It's kind of lingering a little bit. Maybe I'm a little bit on the finish, but I mean, I was smoking this a little earlier today in the morning, and the sweet note was really present with the prairie. It's not. It's there, but it's not there. You know what I mean? It's
subdued, yeah.
yes, it's very much. But I don't know. I think for me, I think the whiskey or the bourbon, I think the bourbon is kind of hiding some of the interesting complexities that this tobacco has. That for me, when I was smoking it earlier, it was complex. It was very present that you can pick out each of the tasting notes, the sweetness, the floral, the woody, everything. A little bit of spice in the back end. This one's now with the prairie, it's spice forward. It's kind of drying out my mouth a little bit. It's kind of playing games with me, Danny, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking the pairing. I'm sorry.
What do you think, Dave?
I actually like the pairing because it is subduing the sweetness of the tobacco, like Nick said, but I'm actually not a big fan of the sweetness of the tobacco. Like, I like the spice a lot more. To me, the tobacco taste, I don't know why, but I keep getting it tastes like black licorice to me, and I hate black licorice. You know, that's all I can think about is like black licorice with nuts, and it's just
Black licorice with nuts.
yeah, with like hazelnuts. And I'm just not a fan. Not a fan.
So
I am, but with the drink, it's like the Orientals come forward, the spices come forward, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can get down with this. With the drink, the pairing's wonderful. I actually like the tobacco, and it kind of saved it for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So one side and the other here with this whole thing. Now, ironically, next week we have another event out on the deck.
What is it, Danny?
We have the HVC Pancake Brunch with Rainier Lorenzo, who is the owner, founder, president of HVC Cigars. And that's Saturday the 20th at 11 o'clock. That event's pretty much sold out.
It is 100% sold out.
It's sold out. So
Awesome.
there's, and I knew it was gonna. I told you it was gonna. So if you didn't get your tickets, tough. You should have listened to me.
You know what else is open though? That anybody that's listening or watching can go for, is the
Your
Rocky
hot
event.
tub?
Well, no, I don't have a hot tub.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I don't have a hot tub. I'm helping my
chicken
father.
coop?
I'm helping my father-in-law build a huge chicken coop. I mean, the thing has.
How many chicken coops
Chicken coop
is your
mansion.
family gonna build?
I'm hoping this is the last one. I mean, the first one, it was me.
The Playboy Mansion. of chicken coops.
It would be definitely the Playboy Mansion of chicken coops. I mean, some of the chicken coops that my wife had me watch, they're upwards of
You get to
$100,000.
watch chicken coops.
Well, there's a YouTube channel,
There's a YouTube channel for
Chicken
chicken
tubes.
coops.
100%, and this guy, I
What
mean,
the
they're
heck?
amazing.
What the
They're
crap?
amazing chicken coops, and they're expensive. I mean, they're like, you might as well build the house because they're just that expensive. But the ones online, they got everything. So my father-in-law always loves a challenge, and he's like, I can do this. So my wife's like, you're gonna do this. So we've been doing it. So
Why is it that when she tells her dad she can do it, what she means is you're gonna do it.
with Nick.
yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it together.
What?
I
Yeah,
mean-
is she actually gonna be out there building the
That's-
coop? I don't see that at all. I
She
see
usually-
her sitting, sipping tea, or gin and tonic, or rum and tonic, or something, and making you work. That's what I
usually-
see.
So she's usually the foreman. So she's usually
I
usually
Not that way, that way.
I
so
was right.
she's usually
An inch to the
directing.
left, Nick. An inch to the left.
Yeah, she has.
Tied on the wire first.
She usually directs us on how what things should look like, and and everything, and what the chickens are going to like, and maybe they're not going to like, or maybe, some ideas that she can throw into the mix, like, hey,
How
where.
well does she know what chickens like and don't like?
Well, we've owned chickens for the last 5, 6 years, so
All right.
she's done extensive research on what chicken. She definitely could be a chicken whisperer, but she's definitely in the know. Between Pinterest and Facebook and YouTube and internet access, she's practically an expert at this point.
So, just how extravagant
Oh,
chicken coop going to be?
Well, I'll tell you right now.
he'll tell you exactly what it is.
So, oh, God, I don't know the measurements. So the floor plan is like 20 by 30. Jesus. And then right now they erected the walls. The walls are 10 feet high without the pitch. So everything with the pitch is probably going to reach maybe 15 feet.
Jeez.
Something like that.
Chicken
you can fit a family of 4 in this coop by the time my father-in-law's done building it. And I love my father-in-law. When it needs to be done, he over-engineers everything. It's absolutely crazy. You're gonna be able to jump in there and in a case of a storm or something. It's gonna be unbelievable. It's got windows, it's got a door, it's got everything. It's probably gonna have a bathroom in it. We're probably gonna have to run water to this thing later on. But this thing is just huge. It's 100 times bigger than what we built before. So it's crazy.
Hey, Nick, why did the chicken cross the road?
To get into the coop that my father-in-law built, I'll tell you that. I would cross the road for that. They're not going to want to come out of there. That's how good it's going to be. It's crazy.
So, how many local yokels are you going to have in this chicken coop?
As of right now, we're going to have 34. But
34 chickens?
yeah, that's not that much.
That's not that much.
No, that's not. My wife, about 2 weeks
that's
ago.
like a full-time job.
Yeah, we have right now that are outside because we have 11 outside. We have
You have
30
inside chickens.
30 something inside.
You have inside chickens?
We do, because you have to nurse them into adolescence so you can bring them outside, because they can't survive without heat. So, and lately the heat has been kind of weird outside, especially at night. Drops to about 50, 45.
So you come home, you walk inside, and you open the door, and there are the chickens.
Yes.
How do they survive with Zeus?
Zeus doesn't do anything to them.
Zeus
loves the chickens.
Tell people who Zeus is.
Zeus is my 110-pound Rottweiler. He's a
Zeus
teddy bear.
Don't eat the chickens.
No, he does
Why
not.
do I not believe that Zeus don't eat the chickens?
So he doesn't eat the chickens, but also we tried him at one point to protect the chickens because we have hawks and we have coyotes, really big coyotes, and we have foxes and stuff like that. So
because you have chickens.
Well, because we live in the woods. So,
if you start taking care of chickens, all the predators in the earth start to come over to your house.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah.
So we tried Zeus one time, and Zeus does not. He kind of failed on that objective.
He was not a protector of the chickens.
Well, he just kind of sat and watched.
Are you saying
he just observed? He was a great observer.
Chicken.
Are you saying he was chicken?
I don't know if he was chicken. He's a pretty ferocious dog when it comes to it. But when the pedal's to the metal, he's there, and I've seen him.
Yeah,
I've seen him in action. But
screw the chickens.
I don't know if he watched it for amusement. But good thing that I caught it and we handled the situation.
There was a time that Mandy and I, when we used to live in Ipswich, we had some chickens, and like I said, I wasn't joking. When you have chickens, everything comes. And I remember a hawk coming down, and I can't remember what the actual name was, but they call them chicken hawks because come for chickens.
Usually it's the ones that are.
It's a red tail or something.
Yeah, I was
right?
gonna say.
It's a
Usually
red
it's the
tail.
red tails that
It's a red tail.
are circling my God, on a good summer day. I mean, a clear sky. There's usually 4 in the sky
I heard
circling my property.
I
It's
heard
crazy.
a huge whoosh one day, and I went outside and looked, and there was a red-tailed hawk, a chicken hawk,
Yep.
and it got one, and its wings were spread, and its wingspan had to be 5 or 6 feet across.
Well, the ones
They
that
were.
yeah.
It was huge.
Yep.
And I was amazed at how big this bird was.
Yeah.
And that I'm like, well, whatever you want, it's yours. It is yours now.
Basically,
And when
yeah.
that bird took off, whoosh! I mean, it was amazing the sound it made when it took off.
Oh yeah.
That was crazy.
Oh, you should have seen it when we had turkeys. So
Turkeys!
we had white-breasted turkeys.
You had what turkeys?
We had white-breasted turkeys.
White-breasted.
So white-breasted turkeys, when you buy them, they're meant for those are the Thanksgiving turkeys.
All turkeys. It's all white breast. It's all white meat.
Well, that's what they're called. They're not. Not all of them are called white-breasted turkeys. They have white breast when you do your thing. You can cut it open. But I mean, these ones. So these are the ones that are all white. These are the ones that you would go to a turkey farm to buy Thanksgiving dinner, right?
Okay.
So we had 4 of them, and I mean, the hawk thought maybe it was a smaller one. When he came down, you can see. I saw it in the video. He thought twice, and the thing was bigger than him. But we had 50-pound turkeys though.
50 pounds.
Yeah, these things. So when we had the males were 50. When we weighed them, when we processed them, when we weighed them, they were 50 pounds. They were big. I mean, they would eat everything in sight. It was a good time.
What do you feed these things?
Food, feeder food. You can go to Tractor Supply. Most of the time, we'll go to Tractor Supply or we'll go to Dodge Grain.
You feed them leftovers?
It depends. No, you really shouldn't
Chicken.
be. Well, they'll do that.
Chickens will eat anything.
Chickens and turkeys will eat anything, including chickens and including eggs too. So if you leave the eggs, and what we found out too, if you leave the eggs out there for too long, they'll start eating the eggs, which I guess it's kind of healthy for them, but I mean, we're getting about dozen.
I made this. I think I'll eat it.
Yeah. They're right now with the chickens that are outside, they're producing about 8 eggs a day.
All of them together.
Yeah.
Not each chicken.
Well, yeah.
Each chicken's not producing 8 eggs a day.
No, that
so
would.
painful.
I'm pretty sure that one of those chickens, if it was producing 8 eggs a day, it would probably die after a week.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, right now that we have outside, they're producing about 8. When we have everybody incorporated, sometime next year, we'll probably get about 2 dozen a day. We're estimating.
Wow. That's going to save you like $1,000 a month.
Yeah, especially the eggs prices right now.
Yeah. All right. So what's our? Are you okay?
I'm perfect.
Okay. What's our final thought here on the resolution here?
Well, my resolution is tobacco's good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's made by Stokkebye. I mean, I've had a lot of his stuff, and I mean, it's very complex. Some of the stuff is complex. Some of the stuff is just, straightforward Virginia Perique. But I mean, tobacco is really good. The drink on its own is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Together, I wouldn't do it. Again, I think the bourbon is just hiding a lot of that complexity and that beautiful flavor that I had earlier. It's just, it's a no for me.
Okay.
Separately, yes. Together, I would have to pass on it.
Dave.
Not a big fan of the tobacco. I am a big fan of the drink. Together, the pairing's like actually making the pipe tobacco for me smokable. But yeah, that's about it.
Pat, what do you think? Well, you're under Crown Maduro.
Well, I'll say the room note's good from the pipes before I lit up. But yeah, I'm smoking the Undercrown Maduro, so
Pat's
Okay.
go.
Thanks, Pat.
Oh yeah. No, the High West it pairs really well with a really rich tobacco, which I kind of came in late, so I'm not too sure what you guys are smoking, but it's like I think like if you had like dark bird's eye, I think that would go really well with the High West. I
Yeah.
think it's more of like your fuller bodied, darker, richer Maduro cigars that I found the High West pairs best with. Which so from my experience in the Underground, really good pairing.
Right.
Drace wrapper with, and then you have like the Copper and King's brandy cask that the only barrel that does that's aged in that barrel is our 724 Lounge Select. So it's good. Like it's just so that's probably why you guys are kind of like iffy with the drink. I think if it's more of a mild, like sweeter kind of tobacco, I don't think it goes that well with it. But if it's something that's just really dark and rich, I found that it goes very well with it.
Well, we're going to switch right now to the next thing, and
Switching.
that is the Night Slice.
AKA
by
Nightshade. I don't know why I keep saying that,
I don't know why either.
but it sounds cool.
It does sound cool, but it is not the name of the tobacco. I don't want
That's
to
what-
confuse people.
He should have named that.
I don't want to confuse people.
Well, you come over, you guys come down to Twins, you come see me, and you say Nightshade, I'll know exactly what you guys are talking about.
All right. So, Night Slice is a hand-spun blend of Old Belt mature Virginia's dark fire-cured Kentucky leaf, and spun within is black Cavendish to balance the smoking pleasure. Night Slice is a robust smoking experience with a slight sweetness to it. So, if what Pat said is true, this pairing is probably going to go much better with the Night Slice than it did with the Resolution, which I think Dave, for some reason, picks black licorice out of it. So he didn't care for it that much. I think the tobacco was great. But let's light this up and
What are you smoking it out of there, Danny? I see we are mirroring each other in pipes.
this is a just let me catch my breath. This is a Savinelli unfinished pipe.
Ooh, yeah.
I've had it for several years now, so it doesn't look unfinished anymore. With these unfinished pipes, eventually the oils from the tobaccos, your hands, all kind of patina the pipe, and you turn into this. It's one of my favorite pipes. I got this pipe.
I remember when
'Cause
you
I
got that
didn't-
pipe.
I didn't want to have a real expensive pipe around the shop because, it was going to get put down. It might get dropped. It was probably going to get dinged. So I didn't want to have a real expensive pipe around the shop. But as it started to patina, and because it smoked so well, it became one of my favorite pipes. And I started leaving it at home because it was one of my favorite pipes. I didn't want it smoking all the time because I wanted to be able to enjoy it. And you also have a 320.
I do. I have
a
the camo.
Savinelli,
Yep.
Camo 320.
I have a camo 320, and I just love 320s. I have a few 320s. I don't know why. Just having that short stem and having a big bowl, and I love big bowls, and I cannot lie. I just love it. You could just throw just a bunch of tobacco in there, and if I'm happen to smoke a ribbon cut, I mean, you can throw practically half the can in there. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just something that I just love about it.
Yep.
It just the hand feel just so it feels so natural in your hand. And I don't have overly big hands, but I have above average hands, hand size. So for me, it fits right in my hand, and I just love it.
You're just used to holding something short and fat.
That's true. That's very true.
At least there's something that's above average.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dave, what kind of things are you picking up from the Night Slice? Is it the first time you're smoking this?
Yep.
Now, it's funny because I got 2 bags of this thinking that for some reason that it was a 2-pound bag that you were getting. It turned out that they were 1-pound bags. So by the time we made some bags for the show and then had some for people to smoke, and then with what people bought, there wasn't enough left for me to send stuff right over to Hooksett. So I'm already that's all that's left. I'm already having to order more stuff, and it's been 48 hours. So
Yeah.
people have really enjoyed this stuff. But what's your first take on this?
I'm having a hard time picking anything out because my mouth has been ghosted by that god awful black licorice stuff, whatever.
Oh boy.
There was no black licorice in it. There was no
boy.
anise. There was no nothing.
Well, Denny, we'll start with you. What do you think of this? Because I've smoked this. I smoked this a couple days ago. I think I was on Friday, right before the event. I know you guys had it out, and I snuck a little bit of it, and I enjoyed it. We had a conversation because one of my other favorite tobaccos that Mr. Stokkebye makes is the 4th Gen Kentucky Fire Cured Rope Cut.
Yeah, the Petey Kentucky.
The Petey Kentucky, which is one of
his first small batches. Yep.
I mean, it's absolutely one of my favorites. You get so much flavor out of there. And we were having a discussion a couple days ago saying that it might be something like that, maybe tweaked.
Yep.
What do you think? Do you still hold steady on that? Do you think it's different now that we're smoking
I'm still holding steady. It is a very similar blend, and it's virtually the same kind of cut.
Yeah.
As what the Petey Kentucky was, and that was a very popular small batch of his. I get a lot of earth. I get the dark fired Kentucky is very forward in this.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And the other Virginias that are in there, and you can taste a little bit of the Black Cavendish. There is a little bit of sweetness to this, but it's mostly earthy, dark, almost like some dark coffee notes to it. There's
a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But that smoky, charred oak, earthy kind of flavors to it. That's what I'm picking up, and I really enjoy it.
I like all that, and then right at the end, you kind of get some subtle sweetness there, which is really pleasant. It really kind of brings everything full circle. It's complex. It's got the smoky aspect. You got the earth. You got some charriness to it, and then right after all that, you got a little bit of sweetness kind of playing a little tap dance note on your tongue there. I like it, and I'm very pleased with this bourbon now. I think the bourbon is bringing out a little bit more characteristic for the tobacco. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this goes much better with this.
For sure. For sure.
I think it was a little too strong for the other one. But I think it's just right.
Yeah.
For this one.
It holds up.
And it's doing a very similar thing. It's bringing out those earthy flavors. It's emphasizing the smokiness of the Kentucky Fire Cured tobacco. So I think it's bringing out a lot more of what makes this tobacco special.
Yeah, it's amplifying that smoky note in there. It's very nice, very pleasant.
So let's get back to this chicken coop.
Oh boy,
that you're all talking about.
The coopness.
The coopness. So, how long has this project with your father-in-law been going on?
The last 2 days.
The last 2 days.
Yeah.
And where is this project taking place?
In my backyard.
In your backyard.
Yes.
So your father-in-law is building a 20 by 30, 15-foot tall coop in your backyard.
Yeah. I don't have any pictures of it at the moment.
Where you're going to be keeping 34, 35 chickens.
Probably more.
In addition to what you have.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You already have a huge chicken coop with like a television and like little you got little things for them to do in there, little toys.
So we have,
and all that.
I mean,
hammocks. They have a life already.
No hammocks. I mean, if there's a hammock in there, it's for me or for my wife. But that's
the
it.
thing. You could lay in there and have plenty of room.
You can, yeah.
And we were joking about them getting cable.
That was a joke, but I'm pretty sure if everything was, I mean, if it was my wife that was building it, she would definitely have, I mean, a seating area where you can watch the chickens. You would have a television in there. You would have a wood stove in there. I mean, the list goes on and on.
We're going to do a podcast in this thing?
It's big enough where we could probably all sit in it.
I wonder if we should tell Cigar Coop about it.
We could. We could. My God, you'll have to
It
do
would be perfect.
That would
Coop from the coop.
Coop from the coop. Oh my God.
Look out for the poop.
Yeah. So I mean,
It could get dirty.
look, it's gonna be big enough to house, because I think you only need 2 square feet per chicken, if I'm not mistaken. So with something that big, that structure that we're building, I mean, I'll show you guys after. I have a video of us putting the walls up, but with something that big, I mean, probably by the end of the year, if not sooner, we'll probably have maybe 40, 50 chickens. And not including, my wife is really, 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 really wanting peacocks. So, I mean,
Peacocks.
yeah, she wants peacocks. I mean, probably once a week she's sending me a post where people...
Can't you get to the... When does it get to the point where you just cry foul?
Probably when she wants cows. I mean, like, we went to... So check it out. On Saturday, right? We took a break and we went to her cousin's...
Pat, you can smile. That was actually funny.
That was
a funny line. You can smile.
There's a lot of
Smile,
dad jokes.
Pat. Your dad's right there.
Yeah,
he
that's
was
true.
smiling. You can smile. You can smile, Pat. Even though you're smoking a
He's
cigarette.
tired.
Do
He just
I
got off
see
a plane.
a Google search for chicken jokes on your laptop?
No, you do not.
So we took a break on Saturday and we went to...
break
we
an egg.
we took... Yeah, exactly. So we took a break and they had...
Oh man.
They had a petting... with my wife's
Gotta
cousin's...
break a few eggs. in
My wife's
family.
my wife's cousin's twin sons had a birthday party, and I mean, like, they had everything there. They had a bouncy house, they had a petting zoo. I mean, they had...
And you supplied the chickens.
I didn't supply any chickens. My chickens are not for renting off. They just stay at the house and they provide eggs. You want eggs? I can give you some eggs. But anyways, they had...
Are your chickens pets?
Or are they food?
That is...
Do you name your chickens?
My wife has named most of the chickens.
So, like, when you're eating some night, do you go, this tastes like Bob?
No. We still get our chickens from the store. we don't. We haven't got that far. With the eggs, yes, we grabbed the eggs.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, we went to this birthday party and they had these goats there, and I'm like, oh my God. They
Goats are
had
messed
they
up,
had
man.
little goats. They had little baby goats,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, if my wife, because I went without my wife, and it was just me and my father-in-law, and I'm like, if my wife was here, there would be a couple goats missing. I guarantee it. Because it's gonna be, what's probably gonna come first is the peacocks. We're definitely gonna more than likely get peacocks at some point in time. After that, it's probably gonna be goats, and then after that, it's probably gonna be alpacas
Is it
or cows.
even legal to have peacocks?
100%. I don't know.
Is it
Uh,
a New
Mr.
Hampshire
Chamberlain?
thing? Is it legal to have peacocks?
He doesn't have any idea.
Peacocks, are they going to be like an emotional support animal or something?
They probably, for my wife, they probably will be, and you'll see her on the
Emotional support
plane.
Llamas?
Yeah, well, my neighbor has 6 alpacas. I swear to God, he has 6 alpacas.
So, is it alpacas I know about, but I mean, you don't see many people, even in the live free or die state of New Hampshire, that have peacocks.
Well, if you go online, I mean, people got peacocks. I mean, my wife sends me something every week on there's people
Why don't
that
you get
are
something cool
selling
like
them or giving-
Wolverines or pangolins or?
Pangolins? What's a
What is
pangolin?
a pangolin?
Am I pronouncing it right?
Penguin?
No.
No.
Pangolin.
How are penguins gonna live up here?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to think of. What is a pangolin?
It's the only scaled mammal.
Scaled mammal.
Armadillo? No, it's a pangolin. It looks. It's like a plated freaking thing.
A
Cool.
plated
It looks
friggin'
like
thing.
a plated
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it's pangolin. They're like it's basically like it's almost they're pretty cool. They're like an armored mini
Oh boy.
lizard dragon thing. Yeah, pangolin.
Pat, have you ever heard of a pangolin? What is a pangolin? Are there laws against having pangolins? You're the lawyer.
Ugh.
What's the pangolin? statute?
Pangolin.
I don't even know what to say right now.
I think you're getting confused with your Batman comics.
Oh my lord.
just because they're coming out with the Penguin TV show, and that only holds if the writers' strike doesn't actually, kill
Right.
it in process.
I know.
See?
Can you
What
see
is it
that?
called?
That's the only
It
pangolin.
looks like an
Pangolins.
armadillo.
It looks like an armadillo.
It is not.
It's obviously not named the armadillo, but it
It
definitely looks like one.
if an anteater and an armadillo like combine into one.
Look at that.
They had a baby.
That's freaking awesome.
That's what it looks like. You should put that online so everybody can see what that looks like. So, anyways,
Also, I have a funny. Whenever you're done,
You
I
have a funny story.
experience from DC that.
that would be the order.
Does this
It
have
would be
anything to do with
peacocks,
chickens?
probably.
I mean, in a way, yeah. Consumption of chickens.
The consumption of chickens.
Go get it, Pat. Go get it, kid. I want to hear the story.
Right.
So we went. So day one of us going there, the NHPA. We do a dinner with people from New Hampshire that go,
Mm-hmm.
and I forget the name of the restaurant. It was a Brazilian steakhouse, in downtown DC, and I've never been to one of these places before. So I just made usually we go to the District Chop House usually. So I thought it was gonna be like I looked it up and it was a steakhouse and I'm like, all right, like a ribeye is like $100 there. I'm like, it's a high-end steakhouse or whatever. So I'm like, cool. But I see this thing and I forget what it's called, but it's like $79 a person, and it just listed a bunch of stuff under it, like different food and everything. I'm like, the hell is that? So we end up going into this thing and we get ushered to this big area, and there's people running around everywhere like servers and everything. I'm like, what the hell? So we sit down and this guy comes and really professional dude, but I didn't really understand what he was saying. He had a really thick accent, so he's just kind of like
Did he sound like a chicken?
he was going quick. He was like, oh, you go here, you get food, salad bars. He's like, all right. So all I knew was you go to the salad bar to start, and then you can eat salad bar kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, after that you get food, and there's menus on the table. So I'm like, all right, you get salad and then you order food. Cool. So I get up and I go to the salad bar, and there's just like, endless food. Like there was smoked salmon, there was like this caramelized bacon. It's just anything you could think of was at the salad bar. Like I don't even know why you would order food at this point. So I load up this big salad because I'm like, all right, eat this thing. I have like a half hour or whatever till food. If it's it's a high end place, I'm assuming so like the portions will come out accordingly. So I sit down with this big plate of salad and smoked salmon, all the stuff on it, and then we have like these little discs on the table, and I thought it was just like a little coaster. It was like this like little. It was like red and it says "No thank you" on it. I thought it was just like some kind of branding for something.
No, I know.
There's
There's a reason.
food or not.
Right.
Yeah,
You want
so-
the meat or not.
So I use this thing on the coaster. So finally, like this little bell goes off, and like these the kitchen door swings open. Just these people wearing like kilts and everything, of like these big things of meat hanging off sticks and everything, and they have knives and shit. They're running out, and I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? And I'm like trying to find a menu on the table and everything, and the next thing I know, like I just feel a presence to my right, and I look, and it was like this big guy in a kilt with this big thing, and he's like, sausage? You want sausage? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, he slams it down and just takes it. You want more? I'm like, sure. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to say no. I'm like, yeah, sure.
So
then-
you
so
took
then that
somebody
guy-
else's meat, huh?
No. So then that guy leaves, and next thing you know, to your left, you have a guy, prime rib. I'm like, oh.
Yes.
I'm like, sure. And I'm like, what do I do? And the guy has a knife. He's like, swinging this meat at me, hanging off this big thing. And I'm like,
Nice.
he's like, tong. And I
You
take
want
the-
some of my meat?
So there's like these tongs you have to pick up and grab it, and they finish the cut and you put it on. And I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? So I start trying to eat. Then these people keep coming and coming. So then finally I see that my thing was green. Like I saw like people flip the thing to green.
Green means you
And I'm
want
like,
it.
And I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, so that's what this thing is. And I'm like, so I look over at my brother and I'm like, so we don't order food, do we? Like this is it.
That's how it comes.
You know?
It was his first experience taking somebody else's meat,
Well, I didn't know what to do.
Sometimes,
So finally,
you
like, I
get
started
flustered
eating.
and you get overwhelmed.
And then these people keep coming, and they're not even asking you if you want. They're telling you
If
like
the
this
green's
is what you're
up,
getting.
you're getting it. If the
So-
green's up, you're getting it.
Finally, like my salad is inexistent at this point. Like it's just meat, like meat on my
All
plate.
meat.
Salad.
So finally, at this point, I'm like, I need to. So I flip my thing to red,
Yep.
and I'm like, screw this, like So people, they didn't give a shit what your thing said. they didn't care what if it was green, red, turquoise, whatever the hell the color was. They didn't get. So I'm trying to eat this thing, and these people keep coming up and they're like,
Slapping your
"Sausage."
meat on your head.
Like, you
He's
want sausage?
white. He doesn't know what color it means.
And I'm just
Give
like,
him
look,
some meat.
and like you're looking, I'm like, are you guys getting commission based on these cuts you're doing? Like it's like they're hustling you to, you know. So I'm like, so I told this guy no, and then the guy just cut it and threw it on my plate. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do. My plate was like loaded up, and I keep
Did you
eating
eat it?
Yeah, but then like the
Pat
chief
ate
of
all the
Manchester was sitting right to my left, and the guy's looking at me, and he's like, "What the hell is this kid?" And I was like, I'm eating everything, and then the guy
Sounds
comes
like good
by, I'm
protein.
getting full, and they're like, "Prime rib," and I'm like,
Yeah.
I almost started crying, like, yeah.
They got one of those restaurants down in Burlington,
I'll have
Mass.
some. I'll have some
Yeah.
It's
more.
really good.
They got one
Yep.
in Boston.
Yep.
I went the first time I went. I had the same experience. My wife's like, because my wife.
Yeah, but you were like, bring it on.
I didn't even.
You out of house
I
at
threw,
home.
I threw the cart away. I was like, at this point, I was like, I was a lot bigger than I am now. But
No, yeah, the food was amazing.
Oh, yeah,
I
absolutely.
just felt like anxiety just getting food.
oh my god,
It felt
I mean, like I threw
Because
for
the
me,
thing
I
is,
threw the
like-
cart away. I was like, give me everything.
Because
Just keep it coming.
if you said no, I think they were
They
gonna
were
kill you.
gonna get offended.
Like
Were you hoping that one of them would come out with a plate of cigars?
no, so it's funny. We actually went to a place.
If it wasn't Liga, he
in
wasn't taking it.
downtown- We went to a place in downtown DC. It's called TG Cigar. And I can't get the woman's name, but she's actually on a cover of Cigar Aficionado.
Really?
She had an issue of it with her face on it. But this place must have been open for a long time. So they actually had, like, you could order food there, smoke cigars, buy cigars there. They had a lounge.
Nice.
And they had a pretty good selection there. And it's just, I thought it was hilarious, just like how relaxed DC is, you know, like with everything, like even
With
like
all
the
the crime.
cigar lounges.
Well, it's DC.
you know, so
you know what
it's
I
just
mean.
like, you know, federal law is like very pro cigars. It seems like. I mean, there was a bunch of. We only went to one place, but there was another place we wanted to go to, and it's it's a full service what is it called, Dad? Driscoll? No, not Driscoll. What is it? Draper. Yeah, and that's the place where Kennedy bought all the H. Upman factory rolled Coronas from before the embargo. So they who's the general, Dad? They used to get the pipe tobacco from there. It was a general, I think, right? Ford. Oh yeah, so Ford would go there and get his pipe. So it was a really historic place, and online they actually have 724s there.
Wow.
But it's just it's funny that cigars is like a big staple there, and it's like it's very pro cigar there. It was just interesting to see that.
So I met, speaking of historical things, I met a gentleman today. He was 90, I think he was 92 years old. And he came in and he was just looking around. He'd never been here before. He lives up in Hillsborough. And he said that he was looking at our pipes and he was looking at cigars. And he was saying that he used to shop at Ehrlich's in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And Ehrlich's, which I know Ehrlich's because the cigars. So we had the Ehrlich cigars in here from Bellady Cigars. We had those, so I know a little bit of the history. That was one of the first cigar shops in Boston.
Yeah.
It was on Tremont Street, but I did a little research, and they moved like 3 or 4 locations before they ended up on Tremont Street, and then they eventually shut down. But he was telling me he used to shop there when it was on Washington Street, and he used to buy all his pipes there. He has about 16 pipes, and he always used to buy them from there. And then if they broke or something happened, because they had the guy make them in the window, he would sit in the window and he used to make them. And the guy used to go and buy pipes or get one custom made or get one fixed, and he used to watch the guy make his pipe or fix his pipe back in the day. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. I never met anybody that used to go to that shop. I think there was one, Mike Bellady of Bellady Cigars. He said, I remember him saying that was the first cigar that he ever bought was at that store in Boston. But I never met anybody that bought pipes from there, which is unique because, I mean, that's antique vintage stuff right there. I mean, you can't even, I couldn't even imagine anybody still holding any of that.
Yeah.
That's real, like, history. That's Boston history right there. That's amazing.
Speaking of history, it is time for one of our new segments.
Here we go.
the 724 Flashback, a weekly segment highlighting historical events, brought to you by 724 Cigars. Smoke
A piece of history. Great segue.
And here's the thing. In just a couple of days, it will be May 17th.
It will be, yes.
And in 1875, one short year after the founding of 724 Cigars, founded in 1874, the very first Kentucky Derby was run.
The very first?
The very first. The very first Kentucky Derby ran May 17th, 1875. And off the Kentucky Derby website, I got this information, which I thought was really cool. There are a few American sporting events with the history and popularity of the Kentucky Derby, its rich traditions, sipping a mint julep, which we were serving here all day during the latest Kentucky Derby Saturday, donning a beautiful hat and joining fellow race fans in singing "My Old Kentucky Home," transcend the Kentucky Derby from just a sporting event, making it a celebration of Southern culture and a true icon of America. The Kentucky Derby is the longest running sporting event in the United States. Again,
Wow.
dating back to 1875. The race is often referred to as the Run for the Roses and has continuously produced the, quote, most exciting 2 minutes in sports. I remember the first time I watched the Kentucky Derby. You're all day. People are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to go in there. The hats, the dresses, the mint juleps, and everything. And then they run the race, and it was over in like 2 minutes. That's it. That's what we've been waiting for. Then the whole thing was for this 2 minute race.
Yeah, but it's
like
like
so anticlimactic.
and I've never, and again, I've only observed people watching it. I've never sat and watched. But it's like it's the whole entertainment value of it. I mean,
Yeah.
the dresses, the hats, the drinks,
that whole
the
culture
whole-
around it
yeah.
has become the big thing.
Yep.
But it has been uninterrupted, even when coinciding with events like the Great Depression and World Wars I and II. It has happened every single year since 1875,
That's cool.
Even COVID?
even through COVID.
Well, they had masks on the horses when they ran. You know what I mean? Like, come
There
on,
you go.
babe.
That is the 724 flashback.
Oh my
A weekly segment highlighting historical events brought to you by 724 Cigars.
Dun, 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 dun.
A piece of history.
Smoke
But
it.
that was really
Absolutely
cool.
unequaled.
Last week you weren't here, Nick, but last
No.
week it was to the day was the day that the very first Coca-Cola was served in the United States
Really? Where was it served?
in Georgia.
No surprise there.
In
Yep.
Jorge.
Yep.
Georgia.
But I mean, it was to the day.
Really?
That day was the founding of the first Coca-Cola was served.
I wonder what kind of celebration Coca-Cola does for that day. I mean, like, do they bring out the Coca-Cola, like, out of like
Here, have some Coke.
an old
They
freezer?
bring out the Crack-a-Cola.
All right, that all had cocaine in it.
Now with fentanyl.
Well, look, all right, they didn't have cocaine in it. They had coca leaves in it. They didn't have actual. I mean, like, the actual drug is a very bad thing, and you shouldn't be doing that if you're.
No.
No, you shouldn't be doing that. We don't condone that at all. But Coca-Cola, I mean, that's, and from what my understanding is, they are the only company in the world that can import coca leaves to the United States. And again, I may be wrong, but I heard that on I heard it on another podcast.
That
So-
may or may not be true, but I believe it is true.
I believe it also is true that they are the only company allowed. I guess they writ the government writ the laws in such a way that they are the only company that would be able to import coca leaves to the United States. And again, this is what I heard on a podcast that I cannot confirm nor deny that allegation, but I believe that it is true.
Pat, you're the fact checker. Is that true? You're the legal guy.
I mean,
Legal counsel for
it's kind
Not
of a weird random fact. I have to I'll get back to you next week. We'll do
All right.
that for part 2 of the segment.
Very good.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, for part 2.
So, what's the final verdict here on Night Slice and the pairing here? Did you like the pairing better?
I did, yeah. I mean, you get more as you continue down, and again, me and you have wider bowls than Dave does, so it may it may change the flavor a little bit. I mean, that when you're smoking bigger diameters in the bowl versus something narrow, I mean, it's gonna change it a little bit. Just like cigars, when you're smoking a 60 ring gauge versus, a 46 or a Lancero or something like that, the flavors are gonna change. Yeah. So with this in a bigger bowl, I think the subtleness, the smoky aspect of it really goes really well with the Prairie. I'm starting to get a little bit of the sweetness kind of coming down after about halfway through the bowl.
Yep.
But I'm interested to change it to a smaller diameter, one of my other pipes, to see how it changes. Is it going to be more sweet? Is it going to be more smoky? Is it going to be more spicy? I don't know. But
Dave?
good pairing.
My whole palate has been ruined by the first smoke.
How dare you?
Yeah. So
How
I'm not,
dare
I'm
you?
Not
You
even
can't
sure.
recover. You can't recover your
I
palate, Dave.
can't recover my palate right now. No, I'm just I can't get over that.
Novice.
Oh, the drink's great though.
Of course it is.
How do you know your palate's been ruined?
I can
How
yeah,
do
but
you
I
know?
can taste it.
How do you know?
I can taste it.
Then you should be able to taste this.
Dave,
Even Pat can taste this, and he's not even smoking it.
Dave, check this out.
Yeah.
Take a sip of your stout, then do the pairing.
Yeah. If you're wondering why sometimes things go wrong, it's because Dave's drinking before the show starts. Okay. Dave is now taking a sip of the American Prairie. And now he is taking some puffs on his pipe. Dave is taking more puffs on his pipe.
He's looking
He's looking.
bewildered.
His eyes
Yeah,
are
it
kind
still
of going
tastes the
back
same
and
to me.
Still the same.
No.
Still the same.
forth. Dud.
Pat, what's your final verdict?
The room note's good. It has a the room note's actually pretty interesting. It's like a hickory smoky fire, like that kind of aroma you would get. But it has
exactly.
you ever walked in like a family owned coffee shop? Like
I
a
don't
boutique
frequent coffee shops.
shop. Anyone know?
Yeah, I have.
You know, like that smell of hot, just coffee. Just like every coffee shop has that smell.
Mhm.
It's like if you put one of those coffee shops in the middle of a fair with like a hickory fire going, is what the room note smells like.
Like the press
This
hasn't been
would-
cleaned in 22 years.
Nick doesn't drink coffee, but I
No.
can tell you this would go fantastic with a nice dark coffee or an espresso,
It probably would.
cappuccino, or something along that line. A
Something,
latte.
yeah, maybe.
It would go well with that.
Maybe.
Nick wouldn't do it
Nope.
because he's not a coffee guy.
Nope.
but
I had a chocolate Chamberlain 2 weeks ago. That was a. I mean,
is that
I
a
don't have.
euphemism?
Huh?
Is that a euphemism?
No, that was what I named the drink.
I'm glad
I mean,
to hear that.
yes.
Mm.
I'm not gonna comment on that at all. But that was the first time I've had a espresso martini, and I mean, that would have went well with this. It would have been.
Mhm.
I mean, it would have been really odd for me to have those combinations, but I mean, I think it would have went well.
Yeah, earthy, a lot of smoky, charred oak or hickory going on.
There we go.
Yeah, he's
Very,
in there.
very good.
He's in the groove now.
And I think it goes great with the bourbon.
Smoky hickory,
It's
lots of earth.
It's very, very nice. I like it very much.
So Dan, the resolution is limited edition, and then is the night slice
Bulk.
The night slice is a new bulk that will be available from now until perpetuity.
Yeah.
So it's like
So-
Coraline, like the morning, evening,
Correct.
afternoon blend. Okay.
So morning blend, afternoon melange, evening flake, and now you have night slice. So you've got something that's a little bit on the stronger side. Most of Stokkebye stuff tends to be in the mild to medium range of
Yes.
things.
Yeah, this is full.
Very,
This is
very
great.
nuanced, very balanced. Lots of subtle flavors.
Mm-hmm.
Night Slice is a step deeper than that. It allows you to get more of a full-bodied thing, and I think he needed that in his line.
That would round it out.
And-
Yeah.
And I think it's going to do very, very well.
Mm.
And if any indication that we've already basically gone through 2 pounds of this stuff in less than 48 hours
Mm-hmm.
or 72 hours. It's the end of Monday. That's all that's left. What's
I
in
actually
that-
had a
what's in that
customer
tin?
who had started off with Granite State and has now decided that he likes a morning blend the best.
Morning
And I'm
blend
like,
is
I'm like-
delicious.
He would be so proud.
Yeah.
that,
I mean, for me, out of all the blends, I mean, PD Kentucky is probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
After that would be Afternoon Melange,
Mhm.
because that's like an English blend.
Mhm.
I don't know
It's
why.
an all-day English blend. That's just fantastic.
It is. It's so good. For me, a really good English blend is just so satisfying when you're smoking it.
my favorite English is Dexter's Secret. That is my favorite
Dexter's
thing.
Secret is good. It's good.
can't stop
I
smoking
mean, but I think 4th Gen, it's complex, but it's subtle.
Mm-hmm.
4th Gen Afternoon Melange is just so straightforward. It's
So straightforward.
so good. It just makes you want more. And it's so good to me.
It's extravagant.
It is. And then after that,
Ba-dum-bum.
I mean, Quiet Nights by GLP. I mean, Quiet Nights is a staple.
You know what's the best though? Is Spark Plug.
Sparkplug is good,
It's
man.
so creamy and sweet.
That is so good.
I smoked a bowl of that today, man. Oh my.
You know what I haven't had in a while? Speakeasy.
Speakeasy is good.
Man,
That's a different animal compared
That
to what
is.
you guys have been talking about.
that's true. It is. But I mean, Jesus. Speakeasy's good. Mark got me on that. Man, Mark,
Yeah,
we miss
Mark
you.
Mormar. Yep.
Mark, we miss you. If you're watching,
Eminem.
if you're missing, not Eminem, he probably doesn't smoke anything. But
Wow.
Mark, if you're watching, man, we miss you. You got to stop up and hang out for a little bit, have a couple bowls.
All right. Well, that's our show for tonight. We thank you for being with us and hope you join us again next Monday right here, 8 o'clock. And that's not just blowing smoke.
Another smoke, another day, baby.